I'm here with Houston area Congressman Wesley Hunt, who is running in the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, trying to primary incumbent John Cornyn here. Talk to me. We talked a little over a month ago now. How's the campaign been going?
Oh my God, campaign's been going great. We are the only candidate in this race that's actually campaigning and taking our message to the citizens of Texas. We have been bouncing around, barnstorming Texas, and it's been unbelievable to see the feedback that we are getting and the appetite for a candidate like me. What people want to see is a young, America First patriot that was a combat veteran, West Point graduate, that's willing to continue to serve this country and represent Texas, bringing more Texas to D.C., not the other way around. And every single stop that I have made, I am just completely overwhelmed by about how happy people are that I am in this race to give them a true young conservative option.
So we released a set of polling last Thursday. Right now we had Attorney General Paxton and Cornyn head-to-head at the top, with you trailing behind about 10 points under them. Where's your attack avenue, especially with such a large undecided portion still of the electorate as we head into early voting starting in about a month?
Our internals have us doing way better than that. And you could also tell, I think the poll that you released had 20%, 30% almost of people undecided. What does that tell you? You have a 24-year incumbent that's been around for, like I said, 24 years. You have Ken Paxton that's also been around for quite some time. They have ubiquitous name ID, yet people are still looking for another option. That's exactly what we are providing. As people get to see who I am, they get to see our message. As we travel around Texas, you're going to see those undecideds turn to me. Again, everybody knows who John Cornyn is. Everybody knows who Ken Paxton is. The first time John Cornyn was elected to office, I was 11 months old. He's been around for long enough. And what we also know is that John Cornyn is stuck in the 20s after spending $75 million in this race already. And that was even before December the 6th. That's a complete abomination. People are looking for another person, and I'm the person that's going to fill that void.
And you currently serve in the U.S. House of Representatives, yes. And the slim margin the Republicans had just got slimmer with the unfortunate death of your colleague up in California. There's been a little bit of, not necessarily directed at you, but extra emphasis on making sure that people are in D.C. to vote on some of these big bills, and the Cornyn team has used that as a jumping point to attack you for votes you've missed in the past. What's your response to that?
My response is actually quite simple. Of the hundreds of questions that I have asked when I have faced the voters of Texas, do you know how many times I've been asked about how many votes that I've missed? Zero. In fact, people know that a lot of the issues that we're having with getting President Trump through is actually stuck in the Senate because guys like John Cornyn won't vote to nuke the filibuster to get his agenda across the finish line. Furthermore, if I am needed for a major vote, I can guarantee you I will be on the first thing smoking to D.C. But what people here in Texas want to see is who is going to be their next senator. They want to see him in person. Early voting is in less than 1 month, and it is my job to ensure that every single voter has an opportunity to meet me in person and to hear my message. That's exactly what Texans want. And I will end with this. Given the fact that John Cornyn is the one that co-sponsored gun control legislation, he said that President Trump's wall wouldn't work and that walls were stupid. And given the fact that he has not been in line or in lockstep with the primary voter, maybe he should have missed more votes himself.
And one of the things in terms of enacting Trump's agenda, one of the few races in the entire nation right now at the statewide level in which there's no Trump endorsement on the primary side. Talk to me a little bit about what your thoughts are on that and whether you think that will hold as we head into the primary and a potential runoff.
Well, I don't speak for President Trump. I think we all know President Trump speaks for himself. But I do find it very interesting that there are only 2 Senate races and 2 incumbents that he has not endorsed in favor of this whole cycle. And it is Collins and it is Cornyn. It's the 2 C's. And at the end of the day, I think it gives us a window of opportunity to give people an option by him staying out of it. Everybody knows how important his endorsement can be, particularly in a Republican primary. But not getting in this race here in Texas just also shows you that President Trump is paying attention to the base, he's paying attention to the primary voter, and he knows that John Cornyn is a losing proposition, and President Trump likes to win. So by him staying out of this race, it certainly gives us an opportunity to show and prove what we can do. And eventually, I don't want to be given anything. I want to earn President Trump's endorsement. I want to earn his support, but most importantly, I want to earn the support of the Texas primary voter. That's why we're going to win, and that's how we're going to win, because we're going to outwork our competition by actually running a campaign.
One of your opponents in this race made headlines yesterday with a large opinion from the Attorney General's office released on the legality, or in his case, the illegality of DEI here in Texas. Had you get a chance to look at that ruling? What were your thoughts on that?
I have, and he's exactly right. DEI has no place in this country at this phase. I think we have talked before about our past, and yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. We are now living in a country where men like me are being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. Those are the days of the past, and people are sick and tired of being divided along racial lines. If you work hard, if you have grit and determination, you can make it in this country. I don't care what you look like. If I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. I represent a white majority district in a suburb of Houston, Texas, that President Trump would have won by 20 points, and I won by 25 points. And now I am running to be the senator of the great state of Texas and gaining momentum. And do you know why? Because people don't see me for the color of my skin. They see me for my hard work, my service to this nation, and they want to see my continued service to this nation. Also, I'm going to serve as your senator for 2 terms because I believe in term limits, 12 years. And I can guarantee you anything that I just said has nothing to do with what I look like. I am very glad that the general spoke against that. I'm in lockstep with that idea. And I'm the guy that's been black for longer than both of them combined. At the end of the day, I believe in one's acumen, one's hard work. Let's do away with all the identity politics and DEI stuff, and let's just be red-blooded Americans that want Texas to lead from the front, and that's the kind of leadership that I will provide.
Is that a commitment you're willing to make right now? 2 terms maximum, no matter what happens?
Of course, because that's exactly what our founding fathers wanted. And again, I'm a millennial. I don't want to be 74, 75 years old, still flying back and forth to DC. When I am that age, I'm going to be raising my grandchildren and looking at my children, kind of filling the gap and filling leadership roles and helping to guide them in their adult life. The idea of me being in Congress and being in the Senate for 20 years is ridiculous. I've already term limited myself out of my own congressional seat to 2 terms. I am not playing around when I say that. The intent and the construct of the founding fathers was for people to go serve, make laws, and then return back to their community. But you better make good laws, because you have to live with the laws that you have made. And in my early 40s, I'm going to be around for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So I better go up there, make good laws, represent Texas, because I'm going to come back home and live with it.
So in this race on the Republican side, there's been a lot of delving into artificially generated, AI-generated attack ads. There was a series of ads back in October from John Cornyn depicting you as a crybaby. Obviously, last Friday, there was the AI attack ad from Ken Paxton attacking Cornyn and Jasmine Crockett for being dance partners. What are your thoughts on the way that AI is being used in this campaign? And do you guys have any plans to delve into AI stuff yourself?
Well, we kind of already have. Actually, we put an ad out about Senator Cornyn, about him being a rhino. We'd be happy to send it to you. It's actually really great because there's AI-generated rhinoceros. It's just wonderful. And the dance partner ad with Jasmine Crockett really made me laugh from my gut. In my opinion, I think John Cornyn should probably use a little more AI to make himself look younger at this point. But I will say this, we have to be very careful with how we depict people without infringing on people's First Amendment rights. It's something that we have to be very careful with. And although it is quite hilarious, and although I'm a big fan of it, and we have used it, we got to figure out where that line is.
So the Democratic race has gotten a lot of national attention between Crockett and Tallarico. Do you have any thoughts on the way you see that shaping up right now?
Of course I do. Look, we are already outperforming Ken and John in a head-to-head against anybody that comes out of that Democrat primary. Again, they're going to fight it out. Whoever they choose, Wesley Hunt will defeat them, and we already know that. Everybody knows that. But I would love to see Jasmine Crockett come out of that primary. I mean, I can only imagine a debate between Jasmine Crockett talking about what it means to be a victim is what her proposition is going to be, or juxtaposed to me talking about being a Texan, red-blooded American who served this country and being a victor. And by the way, she and I have been black around the same amount of time, but yet we just don't view the world the same way. I've already challenged her to a debate actually on Fox. Of course, she turned it down. I've actually already challenged John Cornyn to 4 debates. He's turned them all down. I understand why. I would probably quite the challenge, and the contrast that you would see on stage would be a complete abomination for John Cornyn and for Jasmine. But if Jasmine does win, she's going to have to face me on that debate stage, and that would be great. If Tallarico wins, he's going to have to face me on the debate stage. I would love to see that happen.
So, as mentioned, about a month out from early voting, doing a lot of campaigning. What's next on this tour, and how do you carry this momentum through when those ballot boxes open?
Of course. Well, this is just swing number 1. We've already been in East Texas. Just yesterday, we were in Amarillo. We've already been in Lubbock. Now we are here in Austin. We're going to be in San Antonio next week, El Paso, back up to the Panhandle, and then we're going to head down south. We are going to be in a different city every single day for the next 2 weeks, and this is what it takes to win. We are taking the message to Texans, and by the way, that's just the first swing. We're going to do this all over again right before early voting, and then we're going to do it again after early voting. We are going to work tirelessly to get this done, and the more people see how passionate I am about this country, how passionate I am about Texas, the more people in Texas see that I bleed Texas, the better off we are going to do. And I can assure you, we're probably going to head to a runoff, and I will be in that runoff.
Well, U.S. Representative Wesley Hunt, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else you want to say? The last word's yours.
No, thank you very much for having me. For those that don't know where to find me, I'm at wesleyhunt.us or wesleyfortexas.com. My handles are Wesley Hunt TX if you want to find me on social media. Again, if you want to see where I'm going to be next, please look us up on social media, and I look forward to meeting everyone. And please come out, vote for me on March the 3rd in the Republican primary.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Always a
brother,
pleasure.
for having me. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much, man.